With all the distressing news that we have happening around us, it becomes even more crucial for us as parents to be there for our children, to answer any questions they might have or validate that emotions that come up. Keeping that in mind, I'm just going to take you through a few things that you could possibly do with children to help cope with this situation a little better. Try and have this conversation with them at a place that they're comfortable in and at a time that they can talk freely about it, like your family meal time. But try and avoid talking about these things before they go to bed. Try and start the conversation with open-ended questions like, what are some things that you're hearing about what's happening around our world? Listen to what they have to say and then take it from there. Some children may not even be interested in having this conversation, but some others might be worrying about it in silence. So with younger children especially, try to use pictures or drawings or stories to try and open up this discussion. Try not to dismiss or invalidate any of the emotions that might be coming up for them. It can be sadness, it can be anger, but try to validate and acknowledge those feelings. Sometimes they might also come up with very difficult questions for you. Things like, are we all going to die? Acknowledge this and validate that worry that might be coming for them, but also try and find out where that's coming from. Sometimes when we know where these thoughts and worries are coming from, we are better able to be there for them, reassure them, and answer questions for them. Sometimes they might also have worries such as, are we safe? Is my family safe? Are my friends safe? But when they talk about this, try and make sure that they know that they reassure that feeling, but also make sure that they know that they are safe from any danger that can be. Sometimes it can be helpful to show them a map and point out to the places where the conflict might be happening and emphasize how they're far away from that place. It might help them feel a little comfortable knowing that there is a lot of distance, and that might reassure they feel safe from any danger that might be. Children do have a right to know about what's happening around, but it is the responsibility of adults around them to make sure they're safe from any distress. So you know your child best. Use age-appropriate language. Try to understand what their reactions are like from their body, and be sensitive to any anxiety that might be coming up while you're talking to them about it. It's important to acknowledge any feelings that come up, because that shows to the children that they can talk about these emotions that come up freely and openly with you. Emphasize that they can come to you anytime such worries come up for them. It might be difficult because it might make them upset when they're talking about it, but it's important for you to recognize that they're feeling upset about what is happening and not by the discussion that you're having with them. Remind them again that they are safe from any dangers, and make sure that they know that people around the world are trying their best to resolve the conflict. It's also important for children to know that there are people around who are using acts of kindness and courage to help in whatever way they can. Focus on finding positive news about first-hand responders, what they're doing in that situation in terms of giving financial aid or shelter or food. And again, emphasizing on how all the countries around the world are working together and working hard in resolving that issue. It can also be helpful to ask them if they would like to do anything positive towards that, perhaps writing a letter or a poster or a drawing, just to kind of express their thoughts and emotions onto that. It might be small, but it can bring a great sense of comfort for them. Try and understand how exposed they are, what kind of information they're exposed to, children and teenagers equally. It might be the news or the social media, but try and turn off news around younger children to try and limit that. With teenagers, maybe you could try and understand where they're getting the news from. You could ask them questions like, what are some of the posts that you're reading about this conflict? Any videos or images that you might be seeing? It might be an opportunity for you to try and understand how much time they spend on social media, what are the resources or the sources that they get this information from, and to also emphasize on exercising caution when trusting these sources while following all of these news. It's important for children and teenagers to have people and parents to talk to, have somebody to listen to their concerns, validate their concerns and emotions. And it's not about having the right thing to say or the perfect answer to tell them. That's not what they need. Sometimes we don't have the answers, and knowing everything is not going to make everything okay. But what we can do is, when they have concerns or questions, to answer them with direct, honest, simple responses. If we don't have the answer, we could let them know that we'll read up about it and I'll get back to you on that. If it's an older child, maybe you could say, let's find out about it together. Let's read up about this information together. Children can see you, how you cope with it. So if you're coping, children will also cope with it well. They are watching you, the way in which you interact with adults around you, about how you respond to the news. So when they see you, that you are calm and you are in control, they might also learn from that. It might bring up a lot of emotions for you, and that's very natural. It might bring up anger, worry, sadness. But try not to overshare your fears onto your children, because they might learn from that as well. If you feel like you're feeling overwhelmed with a lot of these emotions, I would suggest that you reach out to family, friends, or any other trusted adults around you.